Let's speak to Shiva Mahbobi, who is a spokeswoman for the campaign to free political prisoners in Iran. She has been a women's rights activist for most of her life, was held a political prisoner herself in Iran. Shiva, thank you for being with us tonight. What contact have you had with your friends, family members, your associates in Iran this weekend?
Well, very limited because, as you might know, there is still a digital blackout. Even we can't contact our families through normal phone even. It's very difficult. Here and there, people use VPN and contact. What we know now, especially that after the killing of Khamenei, people are very happy in all the cities, but it's quite dangerous because they took security forces to Evin prisoners. So my worry is now actually the political prisoners and all those detainees, as you know that during the protests in the last 2 months, especially in January, tens of thousands been arrested. So right now, while people are happy, we, to be honest, quite worried about the political prisoners, especially there is very limited information. There is no way that the political prisoners can contact their family. And what we hear from different sources and security forces are everywhere around prisons. So that's why we're quite worried about that. So there is a limited communication. And you have to remember that tens of thousands of detainees in the recent protests were arrested, and they are in warehouses, unknown places. So we're worried that now that the regime knows that it's end, they will shoot all of them. So that's why we are really worried about.
Right, crikey, yeah. So a moment of high risk for those people. Given your association with this regime, given how you feel about it, the campaign that you have lived, you sort of dedicated your life to, but all the sort of risks and the complexity and the nature of escalating conflicts in the Middle East, do you welcome this military intervention from the US and Israel?
Absolutely. People in Iran have always said that they welcome targeted attack. You have to understand that people in Iran are not for war. We quite understand what's the intention of Trump or Netanyahu. Of course, all these attacks, they want to preserve their own interests. However, as you've seen in the last 2 months, the regime has brutally suppressed people. I can only describe that as another Holocaust because tens of thousands been killed. More than 40,000 in 2 days. You cannot see anything like that in the history. So in that situation, people are empty-handed, came on the street bravely, but they got shot with all sort of kind of war weapon and everything like that. So in that situation, we are for targeted attack, actually. And now people are, if you see all these footages on the social media, they are very happy because you have to remember 47 years, almost half a century, hundreds of thousands of people been murdered by the regime, been in prisons, myself as well, and many of my friends. So this is an accumulation of 47 years of brutality. And when you see people are happy, no one wants to be in the war. Listen, you have to see what the situation is that people welcome targeted attack. That's no one can see that in the history. That's because there is a brutal regime that they're killing people for the last 47 years. And this is why people are saying, yes, the regime is trying to do propaganda, saying you're gonna make a mass in the region, but you have to remember, regime is in the weakest possible position. They cannot do anything whatsoever.
And Shiva, for you then personally, somebody who has been a political prisoner of this regime, the supreme leader of that regime is dead tonight. How does that feel?
I am very emotional with millions of people. You know why I'm emotional? I welcome that because we can't still believe it. We welcome that. But at the same time, I'm so emotional that hundreds of thousands of people, including my teenage friends at the time, they're not here to see that the murderer that can only be described as another Hitler, that finally is dead. So I'm quite emotional. I can't believe it yet. And I'm hoping that this opens the door that people come and occupy all the streets and would get rid of this regime forever, because getting rid of this regime is not just good for people in Iran. It's actually, the world is safer without this criminal regime. So I'm quite emotional and I can still believe it. I had a few chats with here and there with people in Iran, and some of them were saying that I wish my brother who was executed was alive to see this day. I wish my mother would see this day before she dies.
Yeah, I'm sure. Shiva, thank you for being with us tonight. I appreciate it. Very good to talk to you under emotional circumstances. Shiva Mahbobi, who is a spokeswoman for the campaign to free political prisoners in Iran, been a women's rights activist all her life, been imprisoned by this regime, and is now watching at least its supreme leader